A Fulton County judge has set former President Donald Trump's bond at $200. Zero in District Attorney Fani Willis election interference case. Trump and the other 18 defendants in the case have been given until Friday at noon to appear at the Fulton County Jail for processing. The former president said Monday evening on his social media platform that he intends to surrender in Georgia on Thursday. In addition to Trump, Fulton County Superior Court Judge Scott McAfee set bond Monday for attorneys John Eastman and Kenneth Casabro at $100,000, for Ray Smith III at $50,000, and for Scott Hall at $10,000. Eastman is expected to surrender on Wednesday, according to the California judge overseeing Eastman's disbarment proceedings, who wrote in a filing Monday that the court is willing to make certain changes in this week's trial to accommodate Dr. Eastman's surrender in Fulton County, Georgia. All the defendants' bond agreements include a provision that they shall perform no act to intimidate any person known to him or her to be a co-defendant or witness in this case, or to otherwise obstruct the administration of justice. Trump's bond agreement says that includes no direct or indirect threat against co-defendants or witnesses. The above shall include, but are not limited to, posts on social media or reposts of posts made by another individual on social media. His agreement says all defendants are also prohibited from communicating about the facts of the case with co-defendants, except through counsel. An attorney for Casabro said on his way out of the district attorney's office Monday that the bond negotiation process was a pretty good process, and that he would look forward to moving forward. It was very straightforward. We had a meeting with the DA's office, worked out the negotiated deal, signed the paperwork, and honestly it took longer to get copies than it did to negotiate, the attorney, Scott Grubman, said. Grubman said Casabro would surrender for processing at the Fulton County Jail before the Friday deadline. Asked if he was concerned about the conditions at the jail, where 7 inmates have died this year, Grubman said, just like any jail, there's clearly issues in the Fulton Rice Street Jail, but I think it's going to hopefully be as soon as possible. And we appreciate their cooperation, Grubman said, praising the sheriff's team. As ABC News has previously reported, after an indictment has been handed down in Georgia, bond and conditions of release are typically worked out prior to any surrender. The bond can be paid through cash, a commercial surety, or a court program that requires a payment of 10% of the bond amount. Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis last week charged Trump and 18 others in a sweeping racketeering indictment that alleges they knowingly and willfully joined a conspiracy to unlawfully change the outcome of the election in favor of Trump in Georgia. Trump is charged with 13 counts, including 3 counts of solicitation of violation of oath by a public officer, related in part to the January 2, 2021, phone call he made to Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger. Trump's campaign called the indictment un-American and wrong. The former president contends his actions were not illegal and that the investigation is politically motivated. Eastman is charged with 9 counts, including 2 counts of conspiracy to commit forgery in the first degree. The indictment names him as among those allegedly involved in a scheme to solicit public officers to unlawfully appoint Georgia presidential electors. In a statement to the Washington Examiner, Eastman's attorney said, the indictment in Georgia versus Donald Trump and 18 others sets out activity that is political, but not criminal. Casabro faces 7 counts, including 2 counts of conspiracy to commit forgery in the first degree. According to the indictment, he allegedly acted in furtherance of the conspiracy by, among other acts, sending emails to co-defendant Michael Roman regarding Trump presidential elector nominees in other states. Grubman, Casabro's attorney, called the charges unfounded and said his client was never in Georgia on behalf of the campaign. Smith, a Georgia lawyer, is charged with 12 counts, including 3 counts of solicitation of violation of oath by a public officer. The indictment alleges he was involved in the scheme to solicit public officers to unlawfully appoint Georgia presidential electors. Hall, a Georgia bail bondsman, is charged with 7 counts, including 2 counts of conspiracy to commit election fraud. He is among those accused of conspiring to commit election fraud in Coffee County. According to the indictment, all the defendants are also charged with violating Georgia's Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, known as RICO.